scared to death, my nigga, my stomach turned. Talking shit, knowing damn well I was the first. Fuck. And I ain't never did this before, no. And I ain't never did this before, no.
I don't see only God can judge me, cause I see things clear. Quick these crackers to give my black ass 100 years.
And I ain't never did this before, no. And I ain't never did this before, no. I ain't never did this before, no.
I started to get some notes, some points that I actually like wrote down for this video, like for what I wanted to talk about here. I haven't been like making videos like not really consistently, but I haven't been making videos like for a while. Like I haven't been like here on YouTube like creating videos for a while, so I wanted to like just explain a little bit about what I've been like up to. So yeah, first things first, whenever like I'm making videos, whenever I'm like putting out content or like just creating these videos, the idea behind it is really something that like comes out of like an inspiration to be able to give back, or like and I don't want to say this because it just sounds a little bit self-righteous. Yeah, it sounds a little bit like self-righteousness. But yeah, I wanted to explain a little bit about what really happens with this thing of like creating content or just creating in general. I think generally, like, or just the way life is that we are all like here to like create. And I've said this like a couple of times, like in my other videos, right? And it's different. Like we all do this like differently. We have different ways of how we create. We have different things that we create, and reasons as well of how we create. So, and yeah, so basically what happens, and this is just something that like most times might get like this knowledge that might get like warped into like your busy day. Like you might forget about what is really happening, or whenever you feel like you're out of touch with like your creative like guide or hand or gift. Know this, like life operates like this. There's the world, there's a physical world, right? Like there's this world that's, you know, everything here, and then there's the world within. Like so whenever you're interacting with this world, there's whenever, like regardless of whatever happens or whatever you think, there's always a world within that is like also working, like it's at its play. And I feel like when creating, it's more of an issue of not really an issue, but like it's more of a situation where you're interacting with this world. Like it's more like your inner world is responding to what it's seeing or perceiving in the outer world, in the physical world. And that's basically what I think creating, or yeah, just art and like creativity is about, is that it's like a dance between the inside world with the outer world. It's like you're trying to communicate a message. It's no wonder like most people would say, if you ask a lot of people who are creatives, or they just like do art, they find it to be therapeutic, because it's literally like their inner world communicating or converging with the outside world. And that's where the beauty of it all comes from. It's when the inside world, it's when what you're thinking, what you're feeling is being expressed and it's being communicated to the outside world, and the outside world is able to get that. That's where the beauty works. That's where the beauty is. And I find that to be like the most amazing thing, you know. And so like it might get warped in your everyday like busy lives that like you're involved in. And for me, it happens very often. I've noticed that it happens very often whenever I'm like too involved in my work. And I'm talking about work, what I mean by work, sorry, is when I'm busy with like selling my stuff, like selling the stuff that I do sell, clothes, by the way. So when I'm too involved in that, it literally feels like I'm blocking myself from being creative. And it's it's not that it happens to everyone in that sense, but like for me personally, I know where my creative space is and I know my creative gifts, right? And so whenever I'm not like tapped into them, like the creative gifts that I have, I feel like I'm being blocked, and it just leads into like frustration, right? Because you're not releasing this energy that like is within you, that is building up in you, and just like it's laying dormant, and it just ends up being frustration, and you don't want to be in that state, because after that becomes depression, and you don't want to be in that state. No one wants to be in that state. So I feel like whenever you're creating, it's always good to remember like what's like the overall picture of what you're doing, which is really just communicating the inside and letting, and everything starts from within. So it's very important to be able to start from that place within, and then being able to like release it to the world, like outside. That way, whatever it is that like and I remember watching this video, some girl was talking about how it's very important to be creating from the preface of you, the individual. You know, it's very important for me to be able to create, or to, as a creative or as an artist, it's very important for you to be able to do things from the place of self, like from you. It's not a selfish thing, but like some people may misunderstand it as a selfish thing, but it's literally the most important thing to be in tune with as an artist, is to be in tune with you, your emotions, your thoughts, your feelings, all those. Like you need to be in tune. That way you can be able to communicate well enough. If you can communicate well enough, you, the individual, then you're able to communicate even for other people. Because what you're going to be is, as an artist, as a creative, it's more of being a conduit, I'm learning new words, a conduit for other people. And how you do that is first starting to be a conduit for yourself, learning to stand up for yourself first, learning to, you know, speak for yourself, learning to breathe for yourself, like showing up for yourself first. And I said this in one of my other videos, I think. So yeah, it's literally doing that, like leading yourself. If you're not a good leader with yourself, you won't be able to like lead other people. So you want to like start with yourself. You want to be able to like, and this video sounds like a coaching thing, but it's not really a coaching thing. It's just me explaining how what I've noticed and what I continuously like observe in myself about my creative process, or just creativity in general, or whatever I do. So yeah, it's really that. It's really that. And don't even try to like make it as work or as a task, because you want it to be playful, you want it to be fun, you want it to be enjoyable, both for yourself and for your audience. So yeah, I think it's really important to like take note of that. So yeah, I really just wanted to like explain this, or just like speak on this. And the other thing also is connecting with the same point of you being starting from like working from the preface of you, the self. The other thing is avoiding like having like role models, and of course not avoiding really, because I think whoever it is that inspires you will definitely become someone who like you would deem as a role model at some point in some situation. But having so many role models, or having so many role models, can diminish your view as, or can diminish your possibility or your ability to become one yourself, like you becoming a role model. You know, at some point the student has to be the teacher, and that's what happens. At some point your student has to be graduating. There's always you don't have to like stay a student for life. You need to reach a point where you're now being able to lead yourself, like being able to, like I said, lead yourself. You know, you need to work from that front, instead of like following whatever is being pushed out there. You have to at least stand on whatever it is that you're going to push yourself before like placing any other person in front, which is what most people are doing these days. And I find that to be a blockage as well. It blocks your creativity, it blocks you the individual. It blocks your own experience, your own point of view, your own, viewpoint. Like it blocks you from expressing what you have, and people want to like know what you have right there. Like the people who want to just know the raw like side of the situation, and who is better to like listen to other than yourself, you the individual who's like new to this thing. At least you'll be able to give a first experience or explanation of how you are dealing with the situation. Sorry, like I'm being distracted by the kids outside, but yeah, that's what I mean. Like if you are able to just be you, like if you're able just to be you and give your experience in whichever way, like just give yourself, because that's what you're doing. Like I said, you're being a conduit, so you're sacrificing yourself. Learning to be able to like sacrifice yourself for the greater like good, or for the good of others, that's a greater sacrifice. Being able to like sacrifice yourself, like putting yourself up front. And it's not like what's the word, ignoring your own self. It's actually doing the act like the opposite, the direct opposite, which is observing your self. Like I said in the first place, like you have to put yourself first, not in a selfish manner, but like in the sense that you need to understand that out of your experience, other people can be able to like gain their own experience. Out of your own understanding or life, other people can live their life as well. It's quite like that. Like it's really that. And so finding the, not really finding, honestly, because it's just you double with it, but like standing on that ground is what is like important. So I just wanted to like come on here and like be able to like talk about this, share my thoughts on exactly this. Why I really think that having too many role models, having role models, like just having role models in general, like isn't the bad thing, but like having too many role models can block you from becoming one yourself. And that's the point. You shouldn't let your role model stop you from being a role model yourself, because you're living two different lives, you're in two different situations, and no matter how inspirational or motivational they are to you, they will never be in your shoes. They will never fit in your shoes, never. And the only person who fits in your shoes is you. And so you have to stand on that. Like you have to be able to build the courage to like walk the walk on your own. Yeah, at the end of the day, you are the one living in your skin. You're the only one who's going to be living in your skin. So finding the courage to do that, like, because you have to have the courage. At the end of it, you have to have the courage. Like you need the courage, and not the courage that you get from other people, like, but the courage that you build for yourself. The courage that is within, the courage that builds from within. You need that, like, because these other people won't be around like always. Not because they're bad people, but because they just can't. The things that they just are. That's the way things are. That's the way the situation is. Like you can't change it. Like you're here for a reason to have your own experience and pretty much lead another generation to come. Just as much as you want your role models to lead you, the other people that will want you to lead them. And you won't see those people until you start seeing yourself. You won't see the people that you have to lead until you start leading yourself. that's the thing. So once you start leading yourself, once you start directing yourself, once you start observing your own flaws, your own desires and everything like that, that's when you start seeing that there are other people who, that's when you start seeing or observing other people's desires, goals and wants. And if you can be observant of your own desires, wants and goals, then definitely you'll be able to observe other people's desires, wants and goals. So everything just has to start with you. Like everything has to start from your point of view. You know, everything. It's not a selfish thing. Like we're taught, as growing up, we're taught a lot of this. We're taught that being selfish is wanting so much for yourself. But that's the actual opposite of what being selfish is. Selfish is wanting for yourself that what you don't want others for them, like for their own stuff. I don't know if that's a word. That's a correct way of putting it. But like being selfish is not wanting good for yourself. Wanting good for yourself is really self-love, self-care, and everything like that. Selfishness is wanting for yourself only what others have. That's selfish. And so it's important to like take note. Once you're able to like take note, then you're able to once you're able to take note for yourself, then you're able to take note for others. I also love the idea that, not really the idea, it's reality. I also love the fact that whenever you like give chance to yourself, or whenever you give opportunity to you, the individual, whenever you give life to yourself, there's a new world that like opens up before you. It's like it's just waiting for you to like unlock the door. Like you will observe that there's a new world like that just sort of like unlocks before you. Whenever you like give yourself an opportunity, whenever you give yourself an opportunity, that's like giving yourself grace. You know, whenever it's like a whole new world just opens up. It's like, yeah, like grace. Like for instance, a sinner, right? Take for instance a sinner was committed like a very like bad thing, sin, right? And they're living in guilt. They're living in guilt for like, I don't know, for the thing that they've done. The instance that these people like give themselves the grace, right, like to forgive themselves, and that's realizing like the power that you have even against yourself. Because so many people have this, like so many people work powerfully like against themselves. So many of us, anyways. I shouldn't say people, because I should deem myself as one of everyone. We work tirelessly, like negatively against ourselves. We work very negatively, tirelessly negatively towards ourselves. And then when the negativity manifests, you start to question, where did it come from? Why is it like coming for you? When in actual sense, it's been you creating it. It's been you giving it to yourself. And then if you ask the same person, why can't they like think any positively about their life or towards themselves, then they find every other reason not to. You know, they give you every excuse. Well, this and this and that and that and this, and then again the cycle repeats. They never find redemption or never find any glorious escape from their trouble, because they never permit themselves to find it. Like they never permit themselves. And I wrote this thing down. I wrote something like this anyways down last night. I was like, how do I like you create, you know, because I thought for a long period I thought I had this problem to solve, like within my life, like about myself. I thought I had a problem to solve for a long period of time, and I always wanted to find this solution, but this solution could never be found, and I always wondered why. I couldn't solve this issue, because each time like I solved the thing, it turned out to be not the like turned out that that wasn't the solution. Like I couldn't like solve the problem. Right? I thought I couldn't solve the problem, and it turned out to just be like that. I couldn't solve the problem over and over. Like I kept on thinking like that, and then recently, like rarely, I noticed just how much I was invested in not finding the problem. I know you probably think you always think what am I talking about? Well, here's why. When I say this, because I was very highly invested in not finding the problem. Because each time I was trying to like tackle this issue in my head, and by the way, this issue wasn't really an issue. I just deemed it to be an issue by myself. I deemed it to be an issue by myself. You know, maybe because of fear, maybe because of trauma or whatever. So, because of that, I kept on trying to find a solution, right? Because I was constantly like living in a state of I have this issue to solve. You know, I never thought of it as an issue already solved or an issue that wasn't even in existence. I just thought, you know what, I had to like solve an issue, and so I had to look for a solution. But I had been like looking for a solution for so long that I'd been looking for the solution for so long that it just ended up being the problem. Like ended up being the problem. Me looking for the solution ended up being the problem. Because there was no actual problem in the first place. Just the fear that I could be in that situation. You know? And I guess this is why like I want not to be like fearful. Because for most of it, like the fear just takes away the beauty side of things. Like whenever you're living in fear, constantly like living in fear, you miss the whole point. Like you don't reason as much. You only think of survival. You're prioritizing certain pathways. You're prioritizing certain activities, certain thoughts. You know, whenever you're like living in fear, you're always prioritizing certain activities, certain thoughts that you deem to be necessary. And so you don't think of things that are very necessary in a sense. Things like having a good time, things like chilling, things just observing, and you get what I mean. Like, you don't observe all those things because you deem them to be like mediocre or like very small compared to the situation that's at stake. You know. And so yeah, for me like that was the case. I was continuous like seeking this solution that I couldn't like find any solution for, or this problem, trying to solve this problem that I couldn't find any solution for. Until one particular moment where I was like, why am I even like looking for this thing? Because I'd lost. It's like, you know how like some people just like work for work, like workaholics, right? Like people you talk about like workaholics. People just continuously work. First, initially when it starts, like when you know how like people sip into workaholism, how people sip into that is they have a very genuine reason to start in the first place. You know what, I want to get a food or whatever. Then along the way they lose the reason because they've acquired whatever they wanted. So now they ask themselves, what am I going to do now? And so they start to realize, they start to observe all these situations around them, like to give them reason to continue hustling or working. And then the reasons that keep coming to them, they keep receiving the reasons. They keep receiving the reasons. Some of the reasons become something like this. Well, what if this money finishes? The money that you've worked now for. What if this money finishes? Where is the other money going to come from? So you've now moved from what is. You have moved from what already is, like what really is. You've moved away from the reality of things. You're going into the space of possibility, hope, or whatever delusion you're placing your mind on. Because now because you're not hungry, you're not like in need of that money, but like you're just envisioning a situation where you need that money. And that situation pops up in your head because you are very powerful enough to like imagine any situation in your life. So because you've imagined a situation where you don't have the money, the emotions rise now. I need to work more. I need to work more. Then the thoughts as well. I need to work more so that I can make sure I don't run out of money. And so you go into this other loop again. You hustle for this possibility not to happen, for this thought in your head that you imagine to not happen. You know? And so you get tired, maybe 10 times you're depressed. You know, because you're forcing your body to work overload, like overtime, like past the capacity it's supposed to work at. So now your body is like exhausted. It's falling into this state of anxiety, depression. You're fatigued, you get, you're exhausted basically. You've exhausted your energy. And so you continue juicing it up with foodstuffs, trying to satisfy it with foodstuffs because it's tirelessly like working towards this unforeseen, this imagined destination that for most people they don't even like put a very definitive mark on. The people just put, you know what, I'm going to work for this because I don't want this to ever happen. So you work towards that. You work towards not being in a state of hunger. But the more you're doing that, the more you're creating a situation in your mind, both in your mind and physically, that is dependent on working again. Because you have to work even more to build this now. You're no longer working just for that moment, you know, and you're now taking yourself out of the picture of the moment, like you're taking away your presence in reality. You're no longer in the present. You're no longer in the present. You're in the spiritual realm. You're in the spiritual realm, where not everything is delightful, but it's very spiritual. Because it's not like physical. Because people around you can't see the struggle you're going through. They can't see it, but they notice that you're struggling. Yeah, up and down and everything. But like they just think, this guy is a worker. Like he really enjoys it. But you in your head, you've already calculated. You've already calculated this issue there and there, the problem that hasn't yet seen the light of day. You already calculated everything. And all those things are just blocking you from being in the moment. And I'm not saying this to say you should all throw. I'm not shaming people who are visionaries and everything like that. But it's very good to notice or take time to view all these things as they happen and be able to like get some sense out of it before you run cycle. Because it's very easy. It's very easy. Like I said, it's nothing physical, it's very spiritual. So it's very easy to lose yourself. To lose ground anyways on reality. It's very easy. Because you will be working, you will be like doing whatever it is that you'll be doing. Tirelessly grinding, doing this and that. Not realizing that the reason you've been like, the reason you even started in the first place has already been like surpassed. And that's why sometimes again I notice that some people don't even appreciate a blessing, is because each time you get your blessing, like each time you get your answered prayer, you're always like already far ahead of that prayer. You're already worried about something else. So you don't even give yourself the time to appreciate the answered prayers. You don't give yourself the time to appreciate the answered prayers. The things that you were tirelessly crying about late night, asking for this and this and that, you don't like realize. So yeah, I need to like I think I'm done for now. I'll probably like talk about it in the other video, but for now, yeah, that's pretty much that. Just appreciate, take your time to appreciate and realize that you're working from the self. Start from there. That's what's like more important. Yeah. Till next time.